Okay, I don't have anything particularly amazing for this cold open. I just want to get to the point where I confess that I'm not very good at this game. Don't get me wrong, that's not a knock against it at all. You'll soon hear me gushing all about it. However, it's pretty tough, and I don't have the twitch reflexes I had 20 years ago when I had all day, every day to dedicate to my gaming. So, go easy on me in the comments section is what I'm asking. Alright, that being said, let's take a closer look at the 2014 reboot of Strider. Greetings everyone, I'm the Hipster Snek, and today we're going to look at an underloved Capcom franchise, a strange phrase if ever there was one, mostly on account that although the Strider, known as Strider Hiryu in Japan, series has always been consistently well reviewed, you never really see people talk about them, so I aim to rectify this issue. Made as a reboot to the Strider story as a whole, as a collaborative effort between Double Helix Games and Capcom Osaka Studio, and launching on the PlayStations 3 and 4, Xboxes 360 and 1, and PC, Strider is set in the still futuristic setting of 2048 in the city of Kazakh. Any resemblance to real-world locations being purely coincidental, I must assume. The city is within the control of Grandmaster Mayo, I think I'm saying that right, long-standing arch-villain of the Strider franchise, and Strider Hiryu, our titular character, is sent into the city with his form-shifting Tonfa-like laser sword, Cypher, to cut down any and all who would stand in his way. And believe me, a lot of people are going to try to stand in his way. Graphically, the game is intense, taking elements of cyberpunk dystopian fiction with a cityscape that's a mixture of blues and grays, clashed with neon lights, red alarms, bright primary-colored enemies, green toxic sludge, and more. It makes a very distinct experience where you always have the right level of information at any given time, and the color scheming always tips you off to what you can expect. And it all looks fantastic, just a feast for the eyes. Blinding speeds combined with the bright, stark colors, even Strider's red cyber scarf, which gives me flashbacks to Mega Man X Command Mission. It's all just incredible. I absolutely love this kind of art design, in the event my Shadowrun reviews haven't been testament to that fact. And the sound design is simply outstanding. First of all, fans of the series are in for a treat since several songs are remixes of songs from previous Strider titles. On top of that, the new stuff is just incredible. Heavy emphasis on this rock techno mix, which is perfect for both the overall tone and also the setting and the pulse-pounding pace of the gameplay. The soundtrack is good enough to be listened to independently of the game is what I'm getting at, something that Capcom naturally excels at. On top of all that, the overall sound design is just out of this world. Every slash of the lightning-fast Cypher or the heavy impacts of fully loaded armored robots smashing the ground, it's just perfect. The voice talent knocks it out of the park too, with every actor bringing an A-game all the way through. I just love it. In terms of gameplay, Strider obeys one consistent rule of game design that all games should heed. If your game makes the simple act of moving around feel good and intuitive, you have done something fundamentally correct and profound for the overall gameplay experience. And that's what Strider does way right. The simple act of walking and jumping feels great, so everything behaves as a logical extension of those core concepts. Not just that, it's the sort of game where your movement abilities are hardly limited because the game was designed around said core concepts, and the character that you're playing as is quite agile. Strider Hiryu comes equipped with climbing claws, allowing him to scale most walls and ceilings, all the while free to attack with his sword as needed. He also leaps quite high and moves at a brisk pace, making dodging enemy patterns more a matter of recognition than ability. And your options only widen as the game proceeds, as you'll constantly be unlocking upgrades on the regular. In fact, the game is something of a Metroidvania light, where you'll often explore a large section of a map in order to find the essential path forward, but taking time to poke around and explore will often reward you with things like an extended health bar or increased energy regeneration. However, for people who detest backtracking, you're still in luck. I did say light for a reason. Each segment of the map behaves as its own self-contained level, so while each is quite large, the maps never grow to become overwhelming, as you'll clear each after an epic boss encounter. But I am getting a little bit ahead of myself here. The game is, on its face, very much like its arcade roots, with strong emphasis on traversing the complex terrain and tearing robots to shreds using the Cypher Blade and other various tricks that you'll unlock over time, including things like kunai darts, a double jump, and Strider's many various options, robot allies who come mostly in the shape of various animals, each with their own utility. My personal favorite being the one which becomes a shield to ward off incoming projectiles, of which there are many, as most enemies you meet are security officers clad with light armor and machine guns. Enemies will usually come in sets as you traverse, ultimately having the effect of splitting sections into some meant more for exploration and some meant more for combat, and the game has no trouble giving you tons of abilities that will impact both. For instance, very early in the game you'll get a downward smash attack, used to break through certain tiles and to get to lower levels more effectively. 2 or 3 levels later, you first encounter these strange, well-armored sewer crab enemies, and one of the most effective methods of dealing with them is the same downward smash you've been practicing for some time prior. The game does a good job conditioning you to expect that your abilities will all have multiple uses, and to be ready to experiment with them when you're up against a new challenge in order to find the most practical method by which of disposing of them. And if you're like me and are tragically inept at games like this, worry not. There are checkpoints aplenty, and usually the most severe penalties you'll suffer is having to listen to boss intro monologues more than once. Yeah, those are unskippable as I found out the hard way. But the game has unlimited continues, and if you feel like you might not be up for the challenge, you are free to backtrack at your leisure in order to hunt for any hidden goodies, ranging from the aforementioned health ups to also mini challenges to unlock alternate costumes, concept art, and more extra goodies you can admire from the main menu. And now is the part where I just get to gush, because I cannot stress how much fun it is to just run around and slash dudes. That dude, slashed. That turret, definitely slashed. Big gorilla guy, return to monkey, more like return to slash. Seriously, the Double Helix and Capcom Osaka teams have a major winner on their hands, because the simple act of the basic gameplay loop is just one of the most satisfying and entertaining feelings I've had this side of Mega Man X. And getting that part so right is an amazing thing and worthy of celebration. And were I to issue complaint, well, the game is on the short side. Even if you're as bad at it as I am, you'll still probably clear your first run in about 8 hours or maybe less. And even then, there's not too much incentive to run through it again, except to find all the added goodies that you had missed in the last run. Other than that, it more than exceeds the value you pay for it at just 15 USD on Steam at the time of this writing, and it goes on sale regularly. That being said, Strider is more than just a worthy installment in a great franchise. It's probably the very best game of said franchise. A great onboarding point for new fans of the series, and just an all-around great game. I know this review is a little bit short, and that's the bottom line. Strider 2014 is just an amazing game, and if anything I said today sounds even remotely tempting, you should get it now. Link in the description as always. And before anyone thinks I'm going soft, Strider is technically already in Teppen, at least in card form, which is more than Beautiful Joe can say. So, there, I've acknowledged it. This has been the Hipster Snek, bringing to you another underappreciated gem. Ninja strike that like button if you liked today's episode, obviously, so I know. Were you already a fan? Have you played this game before I talked about it? Or was this maybe your first exposure? Mention it down in the comments below. And for more like this each week, be sure you hit those subscribe and bell icons too so you'll never miss a one. And join me here each week for the obscure reviews, indie excellence, the new home of the Tomodachi Bros podcast, and more. And I will see you there.